Islam's already tweeted at you a few times, and like the most recent one, he says, "You're not Volk. I'll show you there at different levels. Keep my belt clean." Do you have any response to Islam?
No, come get it. Come get it.
And he's going after Jack Della Maddalena. Now, the story is, of course, he wanted to be a two-weight division champion. It's a real test.
Jack Della Maddalena, this might be the guy to take the torch and be the next big star in Australia.
Well, he's definitely got a tremendous amount of talent, and he can do it all.
This kid is unstoppable.
There's some scary people in this division, but I'm the fucking scariest.
The UFC welterweight champion.
Islam says, "I'll show you there at different levels. Keep my belt clean."
Come get it. Come get it.
I'm a bad match for everyone, and I'm ready.
When he successfully defended his lightweight belt earlier this year. Distinction while competing, but showing you that he is still very much of that ilk.
You know when, he's trying to get to that position.
But, you know, there's levels to this.
Look at this.
Islam Makhachev just shattered 3 long win streaks in one night. JDM's 11-fight run, his own 22-fight dominance at lightweight, and most importantly, he extended his personal streak to 16 straight UFC victories, tying Anderson Silva for the longest in company history. On top of that, he claimed a second world title and cemented his legacy as one of the greatest fighters the sport has ever seen. His transition into welterweight could not have gone any smoother. The added size didn't slow him down at all. In fact, he looked stronger, fresher, and more physically complete than ever. Inside the cage, he and Jack Della Maddalena looked nearly identical in frame, which only made Islam's performance even more impressive. One thing that stood out instantly was the change in JDM's expression as the rounds went on. In the opening 2 rounds, he looked locked in, poised, even mildly confident that he could keep the fight competitive. But by the 3rd round, his face told a completely different story. You could literally see concern setting in. In the 4th, he seemed overwhelmed, and by the 5th round, he looked emotionally defeated. Almost like the weight of knowing he was down 4 rounds had settled in completely. His leg was destroyed, his energy was fading, and he couldn't keep Islam off him no matter what he tried. Offensively, JDM never found consistent success. He had one brief moment in the clinch where he let loose with a short burst of punches, but outside of that single flurry, nothing he tried was effective. His jab wasn't landing with any authority, he kept reaching with his punches, and he overextended multiple times. And one of the biggest issues was the leg kicks. A few well-placed calf kicks from Islam were enough to dramatically shift the entire dynamic of the fight. Islam only needed around 10 of them throughout the entire 5 rounds, but those 10 kicks completely compromised JDM's stance, balance, and ability to defend takedowns. It's rare to see a game plan this simple and this effective at the elite level. Islam didn't need anything flashy. No wild combinations, no complicated setups. He stuck to a minimalistic approach. Chip away with kicks, force reactions, and change levels for takedowns. When the fight hit the ground, he used his signature top pressure to suffocate JDM with technique and patience. A few feints, a fake jab here and there to disguise entries. But even without those setups, Islam was still able to secure the takedowns cleanly. For Islam to move into a heavier weight class against the defending champion and make it look easier than half his lightweight fights is almost surreal. But that's who Islam is, a generational talent. Of course, some people online complained that the fight was boring because Islam held top position for long stretches. But that criticism only makes sense if you ignore everything JDM did well defensively. Islam wasn't just riding the clock. He went after multiple submissions. He attempted the same techniques that finished Dustin Poirier, that forced Dan Hooker to tap, that nearly put Charles Oliveira out. JDM simply defended them. He worked out of the arm triangle by rotating to relieve shoulder pressure. When Islam attempted to lock in a Darce choke, the same sequence that beat Poirier, JDM immediately recognized the setup and stuffed both arms inside to block the choke. When Islam tried again, attacking the headlock and hand fighting to sneak his arm under the chin, JDM fought the wrists and shut it down before the choke even formed. Islam even tried the Kimura he famously used on Dan Hooker, but being so close to the fence prevented him from generating the torque he needed, and JDM simply sat up against the cage to break the position. So, yes, the fight may have looked one-sided, but that doesn't mean Islam wasn't trying to finish. It just means JDM's submission defense held up. Blaming Islam alone ignores that reality. The sequences on the ground were incredibly technical. At one point, both fighters had control of each other's wrists. Islam broke the grip with a sudden pull, then swung his arm across as if throwing a short hook, threatening to snap into a straight armbar or Kimura transition. But JDM countered quickly by rotating his arm in the opposite direction, buying time to shift his hips and disrupt the attack. In another exchange, while JDM tried to escape from bottom by pushing on Islam's legs, Islam transitioned into a darce again, this time locking it deeper than before. This was the closest submission of the fight. He had the angle, the grip, and the position. But JDM managed to break Islam's leg hook, rotate sharply, and flip out of the choke at the very last second. Islam continued to chase openings, mixing up pressure passes with wrist control and body positioning. JDM's defense made the fight longer, but it didn't change the control Islam dictated every transition. Still, the reason the submissions never finished was because JDM was quick enough and technically prepared on the ground, even if he couldn't stop the takedowns. Speaking of takedowns, Islam made them look effortless. He shut down every attempt JDM tried while landing all of his own. Even when JDM attempted to throw Islam using the same technique he used against Gilbert Burns, kicking across the hips with a whizzer while trying to flip him over, Islam simply adjusted mid-air, planted a foot, secured a grip around JDM's back, and reversed the position instantly. It showed a massive difference in grappling IQ. Later, at the end of the third round, JDM tried to rise into a takedown of his own, thinking he could steal the round. In the last few seconds, Islam grabbed a headlock, switched to a whizzer, planted his hand on the mat, and kicked upward from inside JDM's leg, flipping him over and landing directly on top. Another clean reversal. It wasn't close. Islam blended his striking and grappling beautifully. He used jabs and feints just to get JDM to blink. And every time JDM leaned back or covered up, the hips were exposed. On those openings, Islam shot in, secured singles or doubles, elevated the leg, tripped the base leg, and cleaned up the position with timing and balance that most fighters never master. Even when JDM tried to crawl up or frame off the hips, Islam broke down his posture every single time. One arm posting, Islam grabbed wrist control and folded it. JDM tried again, Islam secured 2-on-1 control and shut it down. When JDM attempted a slick counter, rolling to his belly and reaching for a Kimura to create a scramble, Islam stayed calm, kept chest pressure, and transitioned into full guard control once the momentum faded. The most damaging factor in the entire fight remained the leg kicks. They crippled JDM's movement and forced him to switch stances. Once his damaged leg moved to the back, takedowns became almost automatic. Even body kicks and high kicks were available due to the open stance, giving Islam even more tools to work with. A simple mix of calf kicks, takedowns, and jab feints won him the striking, the grappling, and the cardio battle. It highlighted the gap in levels between the two fighters, not just physically, but mentally and technically. JDM's best moment was a brief clinch exchange where he threw body shots. Outside of that, he spent the majority of the fight defending or absorbing damage. Offensively, he had almost nothing. Defensively, he held up in submission moments but couldn't stop the inevitable. Islam was simply operating on a higher tier everywhere. After this performance, the obvious next matchup is Michael Morales. That's the fight everyone wants. Morales has the size, the power, the undefeated record, and he's coming off a dominant finish. Kamaru Usman is a legend, but giving him a title shot right now wouldn't make sense, especially when Morales TKO'd Brady in round 1, while Usman edged out Buckley in a decision Morales is 19, and he earned it. As for JDM, a fight with Kamaru Usman or Carlos Prates makes the most sense for his return. Either matchup would show where he stands in the evolving welterweight division. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you all in the next video.